We continue with a holiday edition of Lou Dobbs Tonight. Here now, Kitty Pilgrim.
Returns from its summer vacation this week. One of the most contentious issues on the agenda is the Senate's illegal alien amnesty bill. Now, if that legislation becomes law, it will legalize millions of illegal aliens in this country. And according to the Congressional Budget Office, it will cost taxpayers upwards of $100 billion. Lisa Sylvester reports.
The Senate immigration reform bill comes with a $126 billion price tag. That's a lot of money. The kicker? Congress has no idea how to pay for it.
One of the reasons why we're in this deficit mess is because Congress votes first and asks questions about how to pay for these bills later. This is the case with the immigration bill.
$48 billion of the $126 billion would be mandatory spending. Illegal aliens in the United States would become eligible for taxpayer-funded entitlement programs. The cost over the next decade? $24.5 billion in tax refunds through the Earned Income and Child Tax Credit, $15.4 billion for Medicare and Medicaid, $5.2 billion in Social Security benefits, and $3.7 billion in food stamps and nutrition programs. These costs will only rise over time. Representative Tom Tancredo says the only winners are the corporations.
These are all costs that we incur in order so that we can obtain cheap labor. It's not cheap. It's cheap only to the employer. Believe me, it's not cheap to the taxpayer.
Tancredo and other House Republicans favor a border security approach. The Congressional Budget Office estimates it will cost $800 million to hire 1,000 new Border Patrol agents, $1.8 billion in fencing and vehicle barriers, and $1.6 billion for an employment verification system.
What we have to remember when we're talking about gaining control over the border is a national security issue. That is going to cost money in any case, whether it's the House version or the Senate version.
If border security is a costly proposition, the question for Congress, can the nation also afford to spend $50 billion for a guest worker amnesty plan? Lisa Sylvester, CNN, Washington.
The Senate's so-called Comprehensive Immigration Reform Act would legalize millions of illegal aliens already in this country. According to the Heritage Foundation, 10 million illegal aliens would be granted amnesty under the Senate legislation. Incredibly, the legislation would also allow an estimated 66 million people to immigrate legally over the next 20 years, and that would be significantly more than the 19 million who are allowed under current law. The House and Senate take different approaches to fixing our broken border. House members largely oppose broad amnesty for illegals, and the Senate is more likely to support it. The Congressional Budget Office recently said the leading Senate bill could cost taxpayers more than $120 billion over the next decade. Congressman James Sensenbrenner chairs the House Judiciary Committee. I asked him for his reaction to the CBO report.
It is a staggering number, and a lot of this cost comes from the fact that illegal immigrants are currently ineligible for most welfare benefits. Giving them amnesty makes them eligible for welfare benefits, and now we have seen the true cost of the Senate bill giving amnesty to up to 12 million illegal immigrants in our country.
Well, you think it could be even more, don't you?
It will be more because the estimate that the CBO released covers a 10-year period. Once the people become citizens in the 11th year, then they will be eligible for even more benefits, and the cost will keep on going up. Amnesty is not free, but even I am surprised at how high the cost of amnesty will be if the Senate bill is passed into law.
Do you have an estimate on what the House bill might cost?
CBO scored the House bill at $1.9 billion. That was in two areas. One is building the 700-mile fence along that part of the southwest border where a fence can work. And the second is establishing the Social Security number verification system so that employers can see if people are using fake Social Security numbers in order to get a job. Remember, illegal immigrants can't get Social Security numbers.
Mm-hmm. Well, on a dollars and cents equation. It just doesn't make sense to move anything but the House bill. One possible compromise, which bridges the Senate and House, comes from Congressman Mike Pence and Senator Kay Bailey Hutchinson. What do you think of that compromise?
That's Amnesty light, because it gives almost unlimited immigration to people from Mexico and Central America, while it keeps strict quotas on legal immigration from the other countries in the world. I don't think that we should allow practically everybody who lives in Mexico and Central America an access to come into the United States. The average wage in the U.S. is 5 times higher than in Mexico. The market does work, and guess where everybody's going to come?
I'd like to ask you a fairly specialized question, if you'll bear with me for a second. Sure. We've been reporting extensively on the case of Jose Campion and Ignacio Romez, who face up to 20 years in prison for pursuing and shooting a Mexican drug smuggler who was given immunity. What is Congress doing to protect our border security people who put their lives on the line every day in trying to protect this country?
The Judiciary Committee will be conducting an investigation into this issue. And while we cannot overturn a jury verdict under the doctrine of separation of powers, we can change the laws and do oversight over the procedures that U.S. attorneys use in prosecuting cases of this nature. It seems to me, from what I know, is that the bad guy got immunity and the good guys who are trying to do their job appear to be going to jail. That shows how upended our criminal justice system is.
Yes, certainly seems so. There have been quite a few field hearings all through the summer on immigration throughout the country. What can we expect after Labor Day, sir?
After Labor Day, the House will look at the results of all of the field hearings, which I think have shown that the Senate bill is more than putting the nose of the camel under the tent. We not only have the whole camel under the tent, but probably a herd of camels there as well. Border security has to come first. Enforcing employer sanctions has to come next. And unless we do those two things, any type of immigration reform isn't going to work, because it's always cheaper to hire an illegal immigrant than to hire a citizen or a legal immigrant with work authorization.
Mm-hmm. All right. We look forward to the fall and some movement possibly on this issue. And thanks for being with us this evening, Congressman James Sensenbrenner.